Hello and welcome back to the Fastest Podcast. I'm your host, Jazz. I'm joined today by Pigeon and Dan. Yay!
Yay! 2 days in a row!
2 days in a row. And this is our F1 Academy special, I suppose. It's not something that we usually cover on the podcast in too much depth, but we thought because it is the last race weekend of the F1 Academy season that we would have a little look at it and give you a bit of insight into what's happening, what's going down in F1 Academy.
Championship decider.
Championship decider. Yes, they've taken it right down to the last race. Well, last two races. Obviously, Doriane Pin and Maya Weug are both in contention for the championship. And there's 9 points separating them at the moment. 9 points is it's a lot and it's not a lot because one mistake and it could all very, very quickly change. So Pan is leading at the moment. The way that these weekends are structured, there's still plenty of points on offer. They have two races to make the difference now. What are we thinking? What are we thinking going in?
Well, we always say that we cover the greatest overtake on pit stops, so not a lot of pit stops happening in F1 Academy, but overtakes, we see a lot of those. They don't have DRS or anything, but it all just comes down to slipstreaming and who has the most daring move into the corners, and then you can make some positions.
Yes, I mean we do see some pretty solid racing in F1 Academy. It's a classic feeder series. We get a lot more action than we do in F1. So yeah, I mean there's a lot at stake. Of course, you've got one wildcard entry as usual. So the wildcard, if you don't understand, that is every race weekend they have a new entry into the series. So a lot of the time that can be someone who's from the region that they're racing in. Not always, but usually it is. I think this year they've tried to stick to that more. So it just gives really nice exposure for junior races, which we love to see. But not only that, we do have another driver in this weekend as well, replacing Ava, who has unfortunately had to have some surgery on her foot, so she will not be racing this weekend. But she'll be replaced. So we've got two more American drivers on the grid this weekend, hoping to make a little bit of a dent. This year on the grid, we do have 3 wildcard entries from 2024 who have all had very impressive seasons. So Nina Gedman, who actually scored points, making history on her F1 Academy debut back in 2024. So she got a seat for this season. Ella Lloyd, of course, who's with McLaren, who will also be racing in F1 Academy next season. That's just been announced this week. So that's exciting. And also, one second. Of course, we also have Courtney Crone, an American driver. So, yeah, lots of representation on the grid. But let's talk a little bit about the championship fight. What are you guys thinking?
Well, Singapore delivered a pretty interesting race. We had the rain-affected race 2, where Pan was leading all the way until the final lap when they were released. Weug pulled a great move on her and moved 7 points closer. So that was really interesting, really impressive also because it was not even difficult. I mean, it was difficult to stay on track with the rain in Singapore. It's always tricky. But also they had to, of course, switch to wet tires. Most of them opted to stay on slicks, which turned out to be the right call. So yeah, it was a really interesting race to see, not only racecraft but also strategy-wise. And it allowed Pan to slip a little bit further down the order and Weug to, gain some points. So.
Dad?
9 points is nothing, is it? I mean, I mean, obviously, you'd rather have the 9 point advantage than be the one chasing. I mean, that goes without saying. But I mean, nine points isn't a lot. You know, you make a mistake in the corner, you lose a couple of positions, all of a sudden you're sweating, aren't you? Depending on where position is, and you've got to say that Maya is going into this more on form, really, isn't she?
Yeah.
So it's difficult who you put your money on going into the final couple of races because one has a 9 point lead, one has a better form. Are they going to come together? There's always the possibility of, a collision. Not saying anyone would do that intentionally, of course, but
Yeah,
strange things have happened. So
we've
look,
seen it
it's,
happen.
it's an
So
exciting prospect going into Vegas. Small chance of possible weather as well. Weather, of course, right now Vegas is very wet,
very cold.
very cold. That there's a 40% chance of rain as well going into it. So on the for race one anyway. So you just don't know. Anything can happen in racing, and that's why it's so exciting.
I mean, looking at mentality as well, something we talk about a lot on our podcast. Something to consider as well. Some drivers prefer to be the hunter than the hunted. So, we don't know tons about, how either of them are feeling going into it because Maya might be perfectly happy with those 9 points being behind Doriane. But obviously both drivers as well are kept very busy between F1 Academy races. So I know Doriane's been busy. She's attached to the Iron Dames as well. So, there's lots of experience and things that are being done between these races as well, which, makes that final stretch going into this last race really interesting, I think, for both drivers. So yeah. I mean, Prema as well are gonna want to be winning this because that will be 3 for 3 for them on F1 Academy titles. So there's lots to keep an eye out, and I think it's this season they've chosen a lot of really interesting tracks for F1 Academy to partake in. Similar with F2 and F3, you see them take on some of the more iconic, exciting, dangerous circuits. So there's really no better work experience than that. And I think maybe ending it in Vegas as well. That's fun. Please don't do it to F1, but that's fun.
we've talked about it before about F1 making Las Vegas the one. Please don't. But
Please don't.
for F1 Academy series that will end during the season, it's a good one to end on. I would say Brazil is even more iconic, but we've talked about that as well. But yeah, it's interesting to see. I think Pan has shown great consistency this season, always either on or very close to the podium. Weug had, I think, one or two off weekends in Canada. The car was just not cooperating. But then she took that amazing win in Zandvoort. So yeah, I think she's on a roll. I think she's going to give it everything, as is Pan. I think 9 points you really can't say hunter or hunted. Everyone has to just give it all. And after I think 30 laps total, we're going to see a winner. So yeah.
Well, hopefully. The other thing to note about both of them is that they are attached to two very iconic Formula 1 teams. Weug is attached to Ferrari, of course. First woman to be in the Ferrari Drivers Academy. So that's a big enough feat on its own, in the whole history of Ferrari, they finally had a woman. Thanks, guys. And Pilot is attached to Mercedes, but also, as I say, she's working with the Iron Dame. She's part of that team. So regardless of what happens this weekend, they've both given a great season, and I'm sure they will be on to even better things going forward. Both going to be kept nice and busy. But elsewhere, on the grid, aside from obviously this title decider between those two. You've got a lot of other stories happening. I mean, for some drivers, I think 7 of them, it's their last opportunity to, get on that podium, go for a win. The likes of Chloe Chambers, Leah Block, they're both going to want to be going for another win. Other drivers, maybe such as Chloe Chong, Tina Hussman, they haven't been on the podium this season, so this is the last chance for them to try and get up there. What do we make of that? What do we think about that?
I think they've shown that they have what it takes. They've had some strong drives. I think most of the permanent or the full seats drivers have all scored points this season, which is pretty impressive on its own. And then of course in Singapore with Leah Block taking the reverse sprint win. Yeah, that's just things that you love to see. Drivers who aren't usually close to the podium still taking that win and still showing that if they have the opportunity and the chance, they can take the win. Which is interesting to see. We'll of course have the 2-year rule. If you're in the series for more than 2 years, then you have to move on to make place for the other new talent. They only have 18 seats, so yeah, I think it's a good rule they have. They have 2 years to show everyone what they got, to build a platform with sponsors, and after that they can go out into the other series. And show what they got there in other cars, other tracks, yeah.
Absolutely. I mean,
very confused at me.
no, sorry, I'm doing my recon, because on that subject, we did mention it briefly earlier, but McLaren have announced that Ella Lloyd will be staying next year. And alongside her, we have another Ella there, because McLaren are adding in a second seat to the F1 Academy grid. What do you think of that? Because I think it's a good thing. Can't hurt. Give them all the visibility in the world. But there may be some different opinions to that. Not having more women on the grid, obviously, but having that second seat in McLaren. What do you make of that?
I think having F1 teams backing is always nice. Also having a look in the professional teams. Yeah, I think it's good that McLaren opted for a second seat in that one.
Yeah, so that second seat will be taken by Ella Stevens, as they announced. They've got Ella by 3. I can't remember the mathematical term for that right now, but obviously Ella Hakkinen has also joined McLaren this week. Just a little shout out to the ladies. Well done, guys. It makes me very happy to see. But yes, so that some people don't love the fact that they're getting another seat on the grid, McLaren as a team, because obviously in F1 Academy, as it stands currently, every F1 team has one driver.
I mean, I don't see a problem with it. Maybe every F1 team should have 2 drivers.
That's what I'm saying.
There's not enough seats for that, but actually Red Bull has 3 seats covered, so
that's true. But Red Bull, what I mean by that is obviously you've got Red Bull, you've got VCAR, but then you've got
Red Bull Ford.
Yeah. So it's not just Red Bull Racing.
No.
In that regard.
Yeah.
Put more seats in the in the series. It's not difficult. It's a feeder series at the end of the day. You've got F3, it doesn't have like 30 seats.
50 million of them
exactly
running around.
I don't see why adding more competition, like, what's wrong with adding more competition? You get more racers able to show their craft. You've got, in theory, better racing, more overtaking going on. It's a bit of a no-brainer that, if McLaren have done it, why can't Mercedes? Why can't Ferrari, etc.? Get more women into motorsport.
Absolutely. I think everyone should be following a suit of McLaren, especially Ferrari, took them that long to sign one female driver. Might make it difficult for them to find another one.
Well,
Um,
I think that Aurelia Nobles is also
oh yeah, she is attached
Ferrari
to
back,
Ferrari.
but she is driving with Puma. But
Yeah.
she is part of the academy, so.
But that partnership, Puma Ferrari, very much hand in hand. So yeah, let's not take that for granted, I suppose. Speaking of adding new faces to the grid, of course, we are hoping to see some of the wildcard drivers that we've had this season be joining us next season. With the likes now of Peyton Westcott, she will be the 7th wildcard driver this season. So that's exciting for her, first F1 Academy race, Vegas, home race. What more could you ask for, really? I mean, that's pretty special, I think,
Yeah, she's joining a party.
She is joining a party, a big old party. And of course, we also have, as I mentioned earlier, we also have Rachel Robertson is joining the grid for Tanker because, as I say, Ava does have an injury, and we hope that she gets well soon. But yeah, I mean, it's just the wild card driver thing. To me, is just really special and very important because that initiative is not something that we really have in any other Formula Feeder series. Do you think it's something that maybe they could enact into F2 and F3, F4, etc.?
Not really. I think what F3 does do, F3 to F2, when F3 season ends, you get a lot of drivers who participate in the final couple of races for F2. So what we have now is F3 ended in Monza, and you see now a lot of drivers are pre-promoting to F2, and then they get a seat next year there as well. I think that's really good to see because they get to get a taste of the action in F2, get a feel for the car, all those kind of factors. They will be pretty critical for next year as well.
Yeah, I think the wild card maybe just stay with F1 Academy. It's something different. Puts the series away from maybe other categories. I think leave the wild card in F1 Academy. I don't think F3, F2 they really need it because I think they do more races anyway.
Yeah.
F2
Yeah.
definitely. I think F3 does as well. So, it could also then get a little bit messy. So I think it suits F1 Academy. I don't think it really suits other feeder series.
Yeah, I mean, I think I agree with that as well, purely because F1 Academy is the one that needs the eyes on it maybe a little bit more than other feeder series do. Obviously, it is harder and harder to get into any motorsport series these days now anyway. But, regardless, F3, F2, there are still more opportunities there than what you do see in F1 Academy, which add more seats, guys. Come on. Just add a few more seats. Like, it's just, there's tiny little cars. Just chuck a few more in. Like, it's just, why not? Why not? I could talk about that for a very long time. So, let's move on. What are we looking forward to from the F1 Academy weekend in Vegas? What are your predictions, shall we say? Who's taking the title?
It's tough to say. Do you go with who's leading the championship or do you go with the form book? 9 points. It's not a lot, but it's still 9 points. You can, for example, in the main race, if it's still around 9-10 points, all you have to do is finish second and you've won the championship. You can afford to lose the race. So it's a tough one for me, but I think I'm going Pin.
Pitch?
I also have to go for Pam. Yeah, I think she's more consistent and she can show what she got. And I think qualifying will be an important one for this track because there's not a lot of overtaking opportunities in Vegas because they don't have DRS.
Yeah,
So
it's not the same outfit, is it?
yeah, it's not the same as Singapore. You know, Singapore is also a pretty big track, but not as big as Vegas, and it's got a lot more corners. So yeah, in Singapore we saw a lot of overtakes happening because a lot of braking zones, and Vegas is basically Monza. So yeah, I don't think we're going to see too many overtaking opportunities, other than the end of the straights. But yeah, I think Pan's going to take it. 9 points, I think, is just enough of a difference to keep the lead. You can get 2 points for pole, and then another one in the main race for the fastest lap, and then of course the 10 and 25 points if you win either race. I think I think she's going to take it.
Yeah, I mean, I'd probably also have to put my money on Pan, but Maya's had a great season. You know, all all it takes is
One mistake.
one mistake, a gust of wind, a little bit of cold track. You know,
Rain.
rain.
Or someone else's mistake.
Or someone else's mistake. Exactly. There's so many factors going in that really turns that could turn 9 points into
Safety cars.
big old nothing burger. So I, if I played it safe, sure, Pan for the win, but I don't feel all that confident to say that because it's Vegas. There's so many variables going in. So
Well,
good luck to both of them.
it's also the first time that they go to Vegas, so some of the
We
drivers.
saw what happened the first time F1 went to Vegas. So
I mean, I think only Norris crashed, didn't he?
across the whole weekend.
I don't.
Across the whole
Okay, yeah,
weekend.
yeah, across the whole weekend. No, but I don't think there were too many crashes in that weekend. It was more just like logistical things, like bumps and those kind of things. I think they've smoothed it out now. Literally smoothed it out.
Yeah, I was alluding more to chaos
Yeah.
specifically than crashes, but
Yeah.
it's a learning curve. You know, getting all your lines right. Well, there's a lot of variables there.
Yeah. I think it's an easier track to learn than Saudi, though. Because when we first got to Saudi, everyone was like, I can't see a quarter ahead. And Vegas is more like, yeah, you have a straight and just keep following it for about 2 minutes and then you're there.
Just go where the road goes, guys.
Yeah.
It's that simple. It's that simple. And that's why none of us are F1 drivers. But I think, yeah, it's shaping up to be a very exciting weekend, you know, for all of them. You know, what a way to end it as well. And hopefully we will be seeing a lot of fresh talent on the grid next year, and hopefully that we'll see as well the people that are moving on from F1 Academy. Hopefully we'll see them elsewhere. I would like to see more of them maybe involved in F1 development going forward. You know, graduate into F3, F2. So there's lots of potential there.
Well, I mean, pulling last year's champion, she of course got into GB3, the British F3 Championship. I think she's been doing pretty well. She even got a podium a couple races ago.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's nice to see them also doing well in other series as well. She's participating in the Nissan Formula E women's test, I believe.
Yeah.
So there are more opportunities for them to get into different cars as well and show
Yeah.
what they got. Is that a yearly thing, that the GB3 seat, or was that just a one-off? I'm not sure.
I'm not sure what's next, to be honest. She's had a great year though. She's had a great season. Also on the topic of F1 Academy, you know, we saw a lot of the F1 Academy graduates doing the Formula E test a few weeks back in Spain. So that's just what we want to see from it, really. That development, that progression onto other things, and you know, the drivers that are staying for next year or joining for next year. You know, there's so much potential. And yeah, it's going to be an interesting weekend, I think. You know, down to the wire. I hate motorsport. The stress.
Let's hope F1 is like the same. We know F2 will be, but let's hope F1, eh?
I think if you want to have that in F1, we need a certain Sir Piastri to
Wake up!
get some pace going again, because if he drops the ball in Vegas, it's probably over.
Yeah, Oscar, learn from the girlies, okay? Lock in, right? Take it down to the wire. Take it down to the wire. And on that note, I think that's everything from us today on the topic of F1 Academy.
Yeah, I think we'll do a review after the race to kind of recap the season and some standout performances. But for the preview, I think that's it. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we will be back again this week. A nice early morning starts for all of us as F1 takes on Vegas yet again. So you will see us looking nice and tired and miserable, I'm sure, over the weekend.
Just
In the
chugging
meantime,
coffee.
chugging coffee. In the meantime, you can keep an eye on our social media. You can find us on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and whatever you call Twitter. Also, check our website for updates. We will be getting some stuff out, I'm sure, about the weekend. Just keeping you generally up to date with what's going on, because I think it's going to be a very busy weekend for all of us. Just spidey senses are just telling me that
Yeah.
in advance. Yeah. So yes, you can get all of your updates from us, and also keep an eye on our live Twitter blog where you can follow along with races if you're not able to be in front of the TV. Fastest Pitstop live. Keep an eye, because someone will be tapping away at 4 o'clock in the morning. But on that note, that's everything from us, and we will see you over the weekend. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.
Right.